Of questions have been coming in, and a lot of them have been about the river, since I do fish the Fox River here in Illinois quite a bit, and I've been getting a lot of questions about rigging and how to just fish the river and catch the fish and what I use and all those different types of questions. So I'm here today especially for some of my clients, Derek and his two kids, Stephanie and Rick. So I'm glad you guys asked the question because it gives me an opportunity to show more people that have also asked questions and just basically get that information out there. So I'm going to show you guys today how to rig the different things that I use. There's other applications you can use. There's other types of plastics that you can use, but this is what works for me. So today I'm going to show you, I use a 32-ounce jig, and obviously I use my St. Croix rods and my Daiwa reels, but this is a 32-ounce jig that I like. It's by Croix, and you can use whatever you want. I prefer this type, but it doesn't matter. I've used many other types and I've caught many other fish on the river besides. But one of the biggest things that I want to show you today is when you tie your line on, especially when you are casting out to the river, the last thing you want is for your jig to be hanging down. When it's hanging down straight like this, that's not natural to the fish, and I'll show you a little bit more about that once I get some plastics rigged down there. But that's really important when you're fishing the river situations and you're trying to get that perfect presentation that the fish are looking for. That's really important. So what I use is basically any kind of small plastic with a little bit of a tail. You want the action is what you're looking for. The action is very important, especially because the river is always changing water levels. If it's fast action, you could get a heavier jig, which is important because you want to get it down there. You don't want to use a heavier jig when the water level is shallow because it's just going to get stuck in rocks and crevices and it's just going to drop too fast. The lighter the jig, I feel, the better, because the slower presentation that you could get, the better. The fish don't want something that goes by them super fast. They want something that's going to come natural, which is going to be swimming and moving, quite slowly, faster as the water goes. Here's another type of plastic I use. These are panfish assassins, which bass assassins are pretty much the same thing. And again, you have that tail action, you have a little bit different color, you have the white with the blue glitter. That works good also. This is another one, the split tail, which I like a lot because it has that forked tail. This works really great in the spring and in the fall when the water is colder. It also works in the summer, but I find that this works amazingly well when the water temperature is cold. It's got a slower to lighter plastic, so it moves slower through the water, and it's got that fork action, and it's just something a little bit smaller presentation for the fish. Okay, so we're going to rig this up for you and show you how we're going to do it. Hopefully it comes through on the video. And let me show you, we'll use this one. Okay, you always want the top. So when you take your jig, you want the hook to be facing down, and you're going to bring it in through the nose, straight through the top. I'm going to bring it a little bit closer if I can. Straight through the top. You're going to bring it down. And you want to kind of judge how far it is from here to there, and that's how far you want to bring it down. But you want it to be as center as possible. You'll bring it through, and then go ahead and just close it in. You can adjust it from there, but basically that's what you're looking for. Something where it's natural. It's not got bumps in it. It doesn't have a weird oblong shape to it. The hook's not off to one side more than the other. It's pretty much centered. And then again, like I was saying, when you have your line, you do not want to present this to the fish like this. That would be bad. There is never, ever a minnow that's swimming like this. Okay, you always got to think, what are the fish eating? So you want to take it and you want to pull your knot really tight. Make sure your knot's tight to your jig because that's really important too. If you got a loose knot there, it's not going to do this. You want to pull your knot tight to the jig, and then you see that's more of a natural presentation. You want it to be basically swimming to the side like it would normally. So when you throw that jig out and it's swimming along, that is way more natural than if it was straight up and down. Every time you cast it out, you want probably 2 to 3 times you cast out, you want to bring it in, check it, pull it. Real easy to do. You just bring it in, pull it, make sure you pull it close to the hook, and then cast it back out again. That's going to be a huge difference in your bite. A lot of times the fish just, well, probably all the time, fish aren't going to take it when it's up and down. So that's a good tip for you guys. Hopefully that'll help you catch more fish. Also, I know I've had a lot of questions about rigging with different types of hooks, the offset hooks, and I have that here. If you're fishing for bass, now I'm not a huge bass fisherman, but I do catch bass. So when you have an offset hook, I have here a Gamakatsu number 3 hook. This is number 3, and I use these a lot when I'm fishing for bass. If I'm in a big quarry or lake where I know there's a lot of big largemouth or smallmouth bass, this is what I'll use on the river also from time to time. Well, actually not so much on the river, probably lakes. But this also works really well. If you've got weighted on it, you can, depending on where you're at, if you need the weight, then get the weighted ones. But more so rigging wise, if you're rigging a worm, the most important thing to look at is how much space you have here. Before, when I showed you the jigs for the river, you wanted to know how much space was from the butt of the jig to the end before it curves. This is different. For this, you want to know how much space is between where the hook comes around and to the point. The reason is, when you bring it through the nose, that's as far as you want to go. And I'll show you why. Then you turn it, and you're going to bring it up and just follow it through, because that's where it's going to come here. Okay? There, that's natural. You don't have too much room there. It's not bunched up. It looks natural. It looks like a natural worm just coming down. Okay, so always pay attention to how much is here. Always go less than more. Because sometimes this little space, especially with the weight, might be a little less. So then what you'll do is you'll turn it a little bit. This is how you rig it weedless. In a lot of the lakes and ponds, this is what you want, especially this time of year, there's so many weeds. You're going to take it, and you're going to judge. You're going to look, make sure it's all straight, so it's going to run natural when you get it in the water. You're going to bring it up just a little bit, because you want to judge where it's going to come in and then come up. You'll take it, and you'll bring it up. You want to bring it through closer to this side, obviously. You don't want it to be so much in the middle or over here, because when the fish bites it, they need to bite the hook. They need to get through this plastic to get to the hook. And some of the plastics are a lot stronger than this one is, so you need to really keep that in mind. So you want to bring it through and bring it as close to this end side as you can without the hook poking through. But keep just a little bit of meat on there, because when you're fishing through the water, sometimes you'll hit rocks, sometimes you'll hit some strong weeds like some coontail that'll really hook up into it, and it'll expose that hook, and then you're going to have problems. So you want to make sure, again, now your worm is hanging straight down, and you'll just throw it out, toss it out there into the weeds, the rocks, wherever you're fishing, let it fall to the bottom. Make sure that you don't have any slack in this line. Once you throw it out, keep an eye on it, watch your line, make sure there's no slack. And as you're dragging it through, reel up just a little bit, drag it, reel up just a little bit, drag it, and you'll feel when that fish bites, especially a bass, you'll feel thunk, and they'll just take it, and that's when you set that hook. And 9 times out of 10, they have it already up in them. Bass are pretty good about that. They're not, walleye are more like they tick, 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 but a bass, they'll thunk, they'll take it. It's done. So that's the way you rig that. Pretty simple, pretty easy to use. Weedless is great because you can fish many different types of water with it, and you don't have to worry about it getting hung up on anything, and that's pretty much it. I mean, you guys go ahead and enjoy yourselves and catch a lot of fish. If you have any questions, let me know. If you are fishing different types of small bodies of water and you're fishing lakes, rivers, this is my speed bag. I love it. It's from Plano. it's perfect for me. If it's all my plastics, I can load them up in here. Mine isn't the neatest, but I can load all my plastics in there. I keep my license in here, my car keys in here. It's really easy to carry. I'm going, and going. I'm going from place to place to place, and I'm hitting different spots. So this is a great thing to have when you're out there on the water. So check them out, Plano Tackle, and good luck to you. I hope you have a great time on the water. And again, if you have any questions, you just let me know, and I'll be happy to help you. Thanks. Bye.